Throughout history, there is a reason why for the past 230,000 years, almost 350,000 years, that marriage has always worked the way it worked until the Western experiment. The Western experiment came and destroyed marriage, which we all understood. And that has been about 150 years old. I would say 75 to 150 years, depending on who you're talking to. But what marriage says, or the prospect of marriage says, is that it's not that you should build and well established. You have to have the basic necessity. You have to have a house, not that you have to have a 10,000 square foot, 5,000 square foot, but you have to have a roof over your head. You have to have basic necessity that that life gives before you bring a woman into it. The reason why is because a woman has a short temper. She doesn't have endurance. Men have endurance. A man can literally live under the bridge and survive and never worry. But when a woman walks into your house, she seeks security. If you don't have, if you don't have that protection over her head, it gets to a time she becomes frustrated. And when she's frustrated, she begins to say something. When she's frustrated, she begins to say something. And then that in itself will frustrate you as a man. So the last thing you want to do is to have under the basic, because under the basic will destroy your family. And then when it comes to alimony, right? Only about 20% of men in the United States are qualified to pay alimony. Of that 20%, only 3% of women pay alimony. Not that every woman that divorces a man out there gets alimony. No, they don't. They don't get it. They never,
Yeah.
the husbands don't even have what it takes to pay that. That's number one. But what I got to say about marriage, Kenny, you don't have to do the certificate of marriage. I think most men should stop doing that. Like going to court and get married in court. We should stop doing that. There are other religious marriage that doesn't give you that certificate. But I don't think it's of a justice to a woman to marry her without any kind of ritual or any kind of ceremony. There has to be a ceremony because that ceremony is what actually gives her honor. The honor she derives of marriage is the ceremony that happens. But you don't have to go to court to do that. You don't have to get certificate to do that. Like I do say to people, marriage is not a contract. Marriage is actually a union between two people. Contract has an expiration date. Marriage does not have expiration date. But you can't give a handshake either because MOU is not a contract. Marriage is not an MOU. They are all two different things. But the ceremony, like in Africa, just like you asked, that's like you said, Kenny. In Africa, we do have ceremonies that happen, and there is no paperwork signed. There is no paperwork. It's a ceremony that happens between the two households, and they come there together to do exchange of vows, whereby the daughter and the offsprings are protected. But this ceremony of signing something is being introduced for the past since the Christian church came, and it totally destroyed the family.
And this is what I brought up to them. Do you know the origins of the things you up here fighting, professing?
It doesn't matter.
Nah, that's ignorance then.
Well, you gotta let me finish what I was
Someone can
saying.
give you, if someone can give you a chronological order of where something came from and you say that, that means you're being ignorant.
No, well, let me finish what I was saying. It doesn't matter if we know the origins of marriage because it don't hold any weight in the state and society according to these
In
laws.
whose society?
I'm saying I can go have a ceremony and say I'm married, but
So,
to the courts and to the state, that don't mean shit. You got to
so,
have a marriage contract.
yeah, I
You
had to provide a
got to have a
certificate in
marriage
order
license in the United States.
for my wife.
So I
for the
get
payment.
it. It's okay to embrace the originality of our culture and our heritage as a people, but it don't hold weight. I can give two shits about it.
Okay, that's your personal feelings.
It ain't
Shannon
my
gave you
personal
a whole
opinion.
break.
That's the
Okay,
law.
that's your personal feelings. You said I don't give a shit about it.
The
I'm
reason why
listening
I
to what
don't
you
is because
say.
it don't hold any weight.
Shannon
It
gave
don't
you a
hold any
whole
validity over
breakdown.
here in the
So
state.
wait, you was on mute when Shannon was talking?
Hmm?
You was on mute when Shannon was talking and breaking down his what he heard, and your thoughts are your thoughts. Like I said, Sweeney and you, I can respect that if that's the thing that you want to do. You can't tell me that if I have certain standards, I've researched it and I looked in it. The African brother came up here and verified the things that I've studied and learned. He also verified what Trev said when Trev asked me, okay, are you open to having a union? And I said, yeah, I'm open to doing it that way because I know from where we came from, there was no paperwork. But you're up here saying that don't matter.
I'm not listen.
You
Whatever
said it.
way, whatever standard or principle, philosophy you believe or whatever, from where you came from, I'm not knocking that. I'm not I'm not trying to be disingenuous to that. I'm just saying here in the States, it doesn't matter.
So
You have to have a marriage license in order for you to be recognized as a married couple.
Okay, bye.
Actually, Kenny,
so
before you go on that, let me say in America, right? Actually, that is not Bruiser. That is not really correct. In
It's
America, you
not.
don't really need certificate to be recognized. In fact, Nigerians do marriage in Nigeria and come here without the Western marriage and still be recognized.
No,
they
well, I was talking
Marriage.
about
they might be
But
able to
what I'm saying is
self-declare
this.
and
Huh?
identify. So
Go ahead.
it can real quick, just a real quick caveat. So in order for me to get my wife onto my insurance to give birth to my child and be under the same health care, I had to provide HR with the actual certificate. They didn't recognize anything other than that.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
that is
The
the
only
one
way
thing that you know. That's the
that is
one
one.
thing that
Yeah,
you
is not.
know.
Yeah,
You
but
don't know
we
what
that
you're
came
talking
from
about.
there
You
will
might want
tell
to
you
put
that
in that
that is
information.
not the
I
So
case.
know,
so
Marcus, you're good at researching information. And this is a
Yeah.
teachable moment right now.
so Kenny, real quick. In today's time, only 55% of marriages are the primary or sole provider of the household. 29% of them are egalitarian, which means that the woman makes the same amount of, if not the same amount as the man, and about roughly 16% of it, the woman is the breadwinner or the primary. So, and that's down from 85% 50 years ago. So, yes, marriages are far more equal today than they once were.
Okay, we never argued that point.
But no, you made the point of saying you asked me, well, what percentage of women are actually doing that, and I will say that it's a significant amount of them at this point are checking for the guy that makes 50, 60,000. It's a significant amount of them now because the median income for those egalitarian relationships are 100 to 120,000.
Okay, here's the thing.
But,
Marcus followed that up with initially they say no, but they settle. So
What
we were in agreement.
uh, uh, uh,
what is it?
Sweeney,
What does that matter?
Sweeney, there is something I want to say to you, Sweeney. You see that statistic that you just quote right now is not correct. I'll tell you why it's not correct.
What the hell is it
That
matter?
is state. No,
Hear
no. The
him
reason
out.
why it's not correct is that that's stated. It's stated, but that's not actuality. It's just stated. It's not actuality. I'll tell you why.
oh
In
Lord.
some household, no, Sweeney, I'm not trying to disagree with you, but I just said that the statistic, not you. You are correct, but the statistics is not correct. I'll tell you why. Because in some household, actually, men out earn women by far,
Okay,
but
now
due
you're
to
talking about
tax
exceptions.
purposes, but due to
He
tax purposes,
arguing the exception.
I told you earlier we were doing that whenever we were doing the same thing women
Sweeney,
doing.
you was making exceptions and moving the goalposts the whole
25% is not
freaking
an
night.
exception.
Sweeney,
it's not even
that's
an
like
exception.
backhanded now. You were
Okay,
doing
let
that
me tell you
all
why it's not
night.
an
That's
exception.
a
Yeah, okay,
45% is
let
an
me tell you why it's not an
exception.
exception. Let me tell you why it's not an exception. Let's just go back to Nigerian community in America, right? Most Nigerian men in America far out earn their women, right?
We're not
But
talking about y'all. Y'all marriages ain't even counted.
That's fucked up.
Uh,
now how is it not counted if we're in America,
Can
man?
they work?
What are
This
you
standard that I'm
saying?
quoting only counts the marriages in this country. Your marriage ain't even counted.
Sweeney, go outside and cook some ribs.
Shit,
You just
that's
you. I don't know what you doing right now.
Hold on. I listen, I get saying go fuck yourself, but go outside and cook some ribs, that's a new one.
Nah, he know what I'm talking about. He know what I'm talking about.
So can I ask a Keen a question? I know, and I heard what Marcus said, like he needed to provide that that paperwork to do the insurance, but running a company, he didn't have to get the insurance to provide your marriage certificate. Rarely is your marriage certificate required to do anything in America outside of a court of law, even including and up to life insurance, because I can give life insurance. Some people give life insurance to their dog. I can have my beneficiary be my next door neighbor. There's a lot. Marriage certificates aren't necessarily required for pretty much anything, including health insurance. So just want to throw that out there.
So
I don't want us to get it mixed up, thinking that it's required. Go ahead.
In order for me to add my wife pre-child, so the child can get added to the insurance, but so she can go get the pregnancy and all that stuff done, I had to provide a certificate before they would add her to it.
They would have did it anyway, though. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I tried, and they said no. They needed a certificate. It was like a thing with HR. I had to send it back.
That's
twice.
because you were claiming that's because you stated to them that you're married.
Yeah.
If you would have said I'm not married and I'm in a common law relationship, or I'm in a
exactly, because that's
my mind, they would have still did it.
That's the privilege. Watch this real quick. I'll give it back to you, Shannon. That's the privilege given to same-sex couples.
It's an American thing. That's you got the same sex. It's an American thing, Marcus. That's all I'm saying. I ran a Sears. I had 175 employees up under me. Trust me, anybody could have came in and said anything they fucking wanted, and we would have still had to give it to them. And that's just the way the corporations work in America.
I went and talked to the HR lady about this.
Yeah, talk to HR about it. But she knows that you're married, and you probably come to work with a ring on, and it's just a lot of. Now, I will tell you this: streamlining and easy marriage. Hey, I'm married. Here's a certificate. It is at that point. There's really no questions. But even if you provide it, you could have printed your own marriage certificate. You know that you didn't have to have a purple seal. You could have printed your own marriage certificate and gave it to HR, and that would have worked. HR cannot say, "Oh, this is not authentic." Come back.
No, that's possible. Yeah, that's possible. I don't think they had a way to verify it, but they needed me on record. I could have got charged insurance fraud if I did that too, though.
Yeah, a lot of it is just bullshit. But Keen had asked him. He said, marriage isn't. They aren't MOU. Like, so a memorandum of understanding. That's what an MOU is. A memorandum of understanding. And he said marriages are not an MOU. And I wish he was here, because that's where I wanted to ask. I don't know if he could hear me, because I wanted to ask him, does he believe that marriages should be a memorandum of understanding? Okay, Ikeen, there you go. You said marriages are not MOUs, which is a memorandum of understanding. Do you believe today, Ikeen, in 2024, between men and women, in our current situation, our current economy, our current political climate, everything that we have going on in America today, on the Western world, I'm not talking about worldwide, just the Western world, that marriages should go in with some form of MOU?
It is already.
But you said it wasn't.
No, I said marriage itself is not. But in the West, it's already now MOU, because that's why it's called common law. Common law is MOU.
All right, so y'all do.
When you allow a woman to move into your house, right? Or you move into your house, there is an handshake. That's MOU.
I would advise y'all not to move to a common law state.
I misunderstood you. Okay, y'all can then continue moving on. I misunderstood my man.
Shannon, if y'all gonna do all of that, I would advise you not to move to a common law state.
Okay, first of all, the common law.
Yeah, but there's only like 7 of them right now. Most of them.
Okay.
One of them is Texas. Yeah, there's a lot of motherfuckers living in Texas. I would advise, because in Texas, if Marcus did what he did in Texas, and did what Kenya said in Texas, and he came in and said, "Oh yeah, this is my wife. We got married in Nigeria." He divorced her. He losing half his shit.
But Sweeney, it's not You don't really lose half of your shit. They
Oh, you
still have
lose
to
half your shit.
No, you both losing half of your shit, not one person.
No, you losing half
Because
your shit here in Texas.
no, no, because you bring in
And the
something, she's
same
bringing. No, you guys are accumulating something in the marriage. So she's accumulating, you are accumulating. The church still has to calculate and
It's
see
still
who is.
shit.
Huh?
It's still losing half your shit. Whether y'all accumulated it together or apart, you still losing half of it.
You know why I'm telling you this? Because I have a friend that went through divorce.
In
Guess
Texas,
she is a nurse. He's an engineer. He makes more money than her.
fair.
They calculated what she makes as a nurse and calculated what he makes as an engineer. He had to then pay her certain amount of money for over 10 years to stop because that is the only way that the true half comes up. So you still have to pay balance because they're going to take her income into consideration and your income into consideration. But it all depends on case by case in Texas because guess what? Another of my friend again in Texas, not far from my house. In fact, we both live in Louisville. You live in Dallas, right? He actually went through divorce with his ex-wife.
Right.
Guess what? He got custody and paid her a lump sum of 150,000. Bam! It ends everything. And then she lost because you know why? The reason why he paid that money was because he wants the house. He doesn't want to give her the house. So he took the house.
I don't understand it. If everybody's so afraid of being their stuff being taken away, not to mention that you got, I think in some states you got to be married over a duration, a period of time before that's even valid to even for somebody to even ask for alimony. Why don't y'all just get a premarital agreement?
Because it doesn't protect from alimony.
What?
Prenups don't protect against alimony.
Yes, they do.
Yes,
No,
the
they
hell they do.
No, they don't.
No, they do.
Yes, they
They
do.
do.
No,
Yeah, they do.
No, if you divorce somebody, alimony is not included in the prenuptial agreement. You're gonna pay that regardless.
No. What
Yes.
state is that?
No.
What
Yes.
state is that?
Soon, what happened is that the court uses child support now to substitute alimony.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's
child
still
support is not stipulated. You can't
No, a
stipulate child
prenuptial
support.
agreement protects your previous assets. So if you come into a marriage with assets,
No,
you don't lose
no,
that.
bro. You need to look
No,
at your
Steve.
premarital agreement. And I think
Yeah,
there's
you
a
know,
reason why
you
a
got
lot
it
of guys are
backwards,
afraid. They don't really know what a premarital agreement can do.
I got a question for
No,
you.
no, no.
When we
I'm
talk
sorry.
about the divorces, do they calculate per person or is just divorces? Because
Oh, okay. Here in Texas, a prenuptial can include a specific provision that can set or waive alimony. So long as the provision and the rest of the prenup are legal, the agreement is valid and can be enforced by the courts.
Boom. Now you have your answer.
There you go.
Technically,
Technically,
it just told you. It just told you alimony's bullshit if you put it in the prenup.
I just read that.
No,
technically,
what you got mixed up was child support.
yeah,
Across the nation, child support ain't got shit.
it ain't got nothing to do with it.
You cannot protect child support in a prenup. You can't do that in no state.
You
That's
can't
the way.
agree
That's
your
what-
way out of
remember that.
taking care of
Yeah,
your
you
child.
can't agree your way out of child support.
See, the thing you got to
Well,
understand
some
is
states prohibit them outright, while others usually just omit that provision from the agreement and force
Yeah.
it completely.
but
Yeah,
technically, everybody
Florida
has a
particularly.
premarital agreement. It's either you're gonna use the court's premarital agreement,
Yeah.
or you're gonna use your
Or you
own.
can
You're
use
gonna
your
make your
own.
own.
Hey, a lot of them motherfuckers get thrown out though.
And you know, so there's only a few states, and a lot of the states have a lot of stipulations when it comes to common law. The thing about Texas, though, since everybody keeps bringing up Texas, because that's always the one that people go. First of all, Texas is one of the states that have a cap on child support. It used to be 2,000. I think right now it's 2,500. That's the reason why Chris Brown, living in California, put himself on child support in Texas with his daughter, with his first daughter, because he knew that if he did that, he would only have to maximum pay 2,500. She tried to challenge it. She tried to move the child support to California. It didn't happen. She lost. Chris, anything above $2,500 a month is a gift to her. That's another reason why Shawnee O'Neal moved her divorce to California and out of Florida. So Texas common law, there is no time limit. It's cold-blooded, Trev. Or no, I'm sorry, Darwin. It's cold-blooded in Texas. Two people could just come together and declare that they're married in Texas,
And
and there's a couple ways to do it. You could either you have to go into the court and file it and just say, hey, this is my wife. We ain't gonna get no paperwork. We ain't said no vows. Like just me and my girlfriend, we married today. And then the court in Texas would be like, all right, cool. Now, if they don't file it and that they have a dispute over whatever the fuck they want to do, maybe property, or they want to talk about something like that, they'll have to prove, well, the person that's disputing it will have to prove in Texas court that they did have a common law. And that's typically done through bank statements. Did they have a shared bank account? Did they have, typical things that's common of a marriage?
No, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. All they have to do is find a spot where you claim them as your wife or husband.
Or if you checked off a box somewhere, if you took a cruise and said, it's me and my wife.
You made a Facebook post.
If you went on a record anywhere, they can find it.
Anywhere. If you on record calling that woman your wife in Texas, y'all married.
Now, and all they need is two witnesses. That's it.
How do you get a divorce with a common law marriage, though?
But you just declare you're divorced. That's the thing about it. But here's the thing. So just like you declare yourself married in a common law state, you declare yourself divorced in a common law state, especially if you guys get along and want to separate. But you get all the benefits of marriage in that state when you're considering yourself common law marriage. Now, the thing about it is, other states that like Utah and a few other ones, they require you to have considered yourself common law marriage prior to a certain date. Some of them are like 1999 and shit. After that, they threw it out, but they still recognize the people that claimed it back then. So we're talking about 20-year plus relationships. And then we also got to take this into consideration. It's 51 states. So do we argue, or do we make a point for Texas when we got 49 other motherfuckers that don't even do rock like Texas does? I mean, Texas is its own country, a lot of people consider. So a lot of times in these discussions, let's not place our whole premise on one location just to get our point across when we got 42 other motherfuckers or 44 other motherfuckers that don't even recognize that shit. Just remember that when we make these discussions.
Yeah, common law marriage ain't that. I was just telling Kenny, you better not take your ass to them common law states and declare yourself married, then you're gonna be fucked.